Jim Wagner's weather, Dave Worth's sports, and the entire Action News team.
But it was only the grace of God that he made it across down Mabry and hit the tree.
Our top story, a plane crash at a major intersection in Tampa. Miraculously, no serious injuries. Good evening, I'm Dave Wagner. Dozens of witnesses credit the pilot of the twin-engine commuter plane for putting the plane down in the one spot where there were no people. It crashed near the Burger King at the intersection of Cloumbus and Dale Mabry in Tampa. Eileen Pickus-Walker joins us live now from that site. First off, Eileen, how's the pilot doing?
Well, 62-year-old Warren Bassler of Oshkosh, Wisconsin is in stable condition tonight at St. Joseph's Hospital with just minor injuries. That's amazing considering what went on here this morning. He crash-landed his twin-engine 8-seat Beechcraft airplane, which he owns, right behind me here at this site just this morning. And when you see the scenes you're about to see that we'll show you here, you'll realize just how amazing it is that he walked away with minor injuries and that Mr. Bassler is a very lucky man tonight. No one could believe their eyes or ears this morning when for a few horrifying seconds one of Tampa's busiest streets became a landing strip.
I saw the plane so close like it's gonna land, and I said to my wife, where's that plane going down?
When I looked up, the plane cleared our building about 30 feet. I followed it. You could hear the engine sputtering and clipped the light pole, which threw it kind of to the side, and she hit right in the middle of Dale Mabry and skidded right into where you see it now up against the palm trees.
On board the 8-passenger Beechcraft, one man, pilot Warren Bassler. Miraculously, he was not seriously hurt.
I was worried about him going into Burger King. I commend him for pulling a plane over like he did and risking his own life instead of other people's lives. He's a very good pilot.
One of the first to reach the unconscious pilot and pull him from the 8-passenger Beechcraft was Burger King manager Art Poisek.
Possible. It was fuel leaking all over the place, so our first thought was to pull him out and get him away before something happened, before it caught fire.
He started slipping because of the amount of fuel that was on the wing. At that point, they just drug him down the side of the aircraft out into the grass over here and started asking the man just sit still. He wasn't very coherent at that time.
The 62-year-old pilot somehow managed to maneuver the plane just over a car dealership, shearing off the top of a light pole in front. Obviously, he had engine trouble, according to witnesses.
I heard them. Oh, yeah, they were sputtering bad. That's why I looked up and couldn't believe it. You could throw a rock underhand and hit the plane when it came over the building.
Firefighters quickly worked to close off the plane's fuel tanks and keep 100 gallons of aviation fuel from seeping into sewer grates or exploding. After being pulled to safety, the pilot was stunned but regained consciousness.
He was definitely in shock. He knew his name and that's it. He didn't know where he was, whether he was flying. He didn't even know he was flying.
Thanks to heroics all around, a potential disaster was turned into a harrowing close call.
Just lucky, I suppose, with as much traffic as there is in this intersection, it didn't hit some cars. It's just really a miracle.
Now, at least one witness told us the plane's left engine had stopped completely right before the crash. We're waiting for confirmation on that from the National Transportation Safety Board. Dave?
Eileen, did the pilot radio the tower that he was having trouble?
Well, we're not sure whether he did or not. We do know, though, that he probably didn't have much time if he did, because he took off from Tampa International, and that's less than a mile away, so he had very little time to react.
An amazing story, Eileen. Thanks very much. Eileen Pickus-Walker live on Dale Mabry in Tampa. Well, another crash near...
Passenger twin-engine plane crash lands on Dale Mabry Highway. And just a short time ago, a second small plane crash landed into the Gulf of Mexico. Good evening, I'm Cheryl Atkinson. Our top story tonight, disastrous day for the pilots of small planes crashing in the Bay Area. Pulse 13's Eric Alling is standing by in Redington Beach with our report. Eric?
Well, Cheryl, we're on the Redington Long Pier. About 2.5 hours ago, a single-engine plane with 2 passengers in it hit the water just about a half-mile away from here off the pier. Fortunately, somebody in a jet ski was able to get out to the plane and keep the people afloat until the Coast Guard could come get them and rescue them. Fortunately, they only suffered minor injuries. As you said, it was not a good day for flying at all today. Earlier in Tampa, another plane crashed on Dale Mabry Highway where the potential for disaster was much greater. One fireman said it was a miracle nobody was killed. This 8-passenger Beechcraft twin-engine plane crash-landed on what any other day would be an extremely dangerous intersection. Fire officials say the plane apparently lost an engine after taking off from Tampa International Airport.
Incredible.
Witnesses say the pilot, 62-year-old Warren Bassler, who owned the craft, did all he could to avoid buildings and people.
He started losing altitude right on top of these buildings, and I couldn't actually see when he went down, but he came pretty much straight down.
All of a sudden, he did like a complete U-turn and plowed into the tree, and when he did, the engine flew off, parts of the plane flew all over the grass, and I thought it was going to explode.
That thought didn't occur to 4 people who braved the mass of plane fuel and the threat of explosion to save Bassler.
Fuel was spewing everywhere, smoke was coming out the engine. We weren't even thinking of the danger involved. It was just something we had to do.
He was in shock. After a while, he knew his name, and that's all he knew. He didn't know where he was. He didn't even know he was flying a plane.
Bassler was taken to St. Joseph's Hospital, where he is listed in stable condition.
After getting the pilot to safety, officials' next concern was getting a full tank of spilled fuel off the road.
Well, we have about 200 gallons of fuel. We're trying to keep it from going into the storm drain system, and we've already called for a vehicle to come over and pump off whatever foam is left, or I'm sorry, whatever fuel is left.
Later in the day, after holding up traffic on Dale Mabry for more than 4 hours, the plane was taken to Tampa Airport to see just what caused the crash that could have been much worse than it was. Flying, but definitely a day to be thankful as well. Cheryl?
Came in threes. A pilot and his wife were hurt but not seriously when their plane crashed today at Lakeland Municipal Airport. The engine of their 1966 Beechcraft Musketeer apparently quit as they came in for a landing. 54-year-old Clyde Floyd and his wife Trellis of Crystal River were treated at Lakeland Regional Medical Center. Bay Area skies were not filled with only disasters.
At 9:59 hours. Engine 18, auto accident, 4169, East Home Farm, crossing. That's affirmative, Chief 1, signal 1, 700 hours. Affirmative. Arrow 1 hours. Unify signal 1. Engine 12. Engine 12, signal 1, 1001 hours. The operations. Check 47, Dale Mabry Command, Engine 87 operations, 10 hours. Engine 8, rescue 8. Rescue 1 to command. Command, bye. If you have a driver for this rescue vehicle, we can get him out of here. QSL. Engine 9 to command. Command, bye. I've got a driver for him. QSL. On the cab on aerial 9, taking a firefighter to be my aid. QSL. Engine 8. He's unable to remember. QSL. What time did this call come in?
This is a passenger plane. We've already notified the National Safety Transportation Board. They're going to be coming in and investigating this. We'll probably have this area tied up here for probably the rest of the day until the federal vehicles on some. I would also like to mention that there was a passerby about as near as I can tell, Jeff lives here in Tampa, full pilot out.
DER is a state agency, right? Well, I thought EPA had to be notified anytime fuel was in the drainage system. DER. How much was that?
Notified DER. Mabry Command. Mabry Command. G5 is now assuming operations. QSL. QSL, G5 assuming operations. Captain Harrison. Command to crash 4. Crash 4. QSL on that last transmission. QSL.
Have any type of ignition of any type of situation, or if the vapors get, we smell foam as a suppressant of the vapors. It doesn't allow the vapors to build up where you can get a spark to ignite.
The only thing we're going to need is probably the truck that we used to eat with, what's called the canteen truck. I don't think it's that far away.
Wisconsin. He was leaving Tampa International, Suncoast Aviation, had taken off 18 left and apparently was making a left turn here. We don't know at this moment in time what caused the aircraft to lose altitude and come down. Mr. Bassler is at St. Joseph Hospital. He's in stable condition. He's had some lacerations, possibly some internal injuries, which they're still checking, but he's in stable condition, in good shape. Very fortunate from the scenario that we see here where his aircraft struck some light poles on Del Mabry right in front of the Dodge dealership and came across Del Mabry, missing automobiles that were on the roadway, and of course impacted and landed in the grass area just to the east of Del Mabry Highway. No fire occurred, although there was some leaking fuel. There was an individual, I believe he's left the scene, an individual pulled the pilot out, because he was afraid of the aircraft might take fire, but apparently he's left the scene.
Okay. Any other property damage besides the light poles over there?
No. We know that there's some lights at the Precision Dodge dealership that were struck, and some signage that you can see there, and of course maybe some landscaping here on the eastern side of Del Mabry. But other